Hello, fellow GH fans, and welcome to the Port Charles podcast. I am Eric, your host for this show, and we are recapping the week that just ended. The week didn't really focus on too many different storylines, but the ones that took up most of the time definitely ended in some bombshells. So we'll get into that, and also stay to the end where I'll have some information on when Epiphany's tribute episode is going to air. We finally have that confirmed. And also, is Nicholas Cassadine actually dead? A potential spoiler may hint at the answer to this, so you'll want to stick around for that. So we spent most of this week focusing on the wedding of Curtis and Portia and this big secret that's been hanging over everyone's heads. I'll be honest, most of the week it really just kind of seemed to just drag on, and I felt like we were just never going to get to the final payoff, the big revelation of everything. But when we did, wow, did business just pick up in a hurry. And hat tip to Brooke Kerr and Tabyana Ali for their amazing work on this week's episodes. These two women, they just left it out all on the field in their scenes this week. Just amazing job by these two women. For Portia and Trina, just great work. I cannot say enough about how impressed I was with their scenes this week. Now we finally have the revelation that Curtis might be Trina's father. Nobody knows for sure. I'm sure that's going to lead to more drama. But I'll be honest, when Curtis and Taggart first heard this just bombshell news, Taggart sure responded better than I thought he would. And definitely, I think he reacted better than I probably would have in that situation. I get the instinct to want to be there for your daughter. Your daughter just ran off. She's upset. You're trying to kind of, figure this whole thing out and kind of decipher what you just heard and let that sink in. So I understand, wanting to go after your daughter and be there for her. I have two daughters of my own, so I definitely understand that. So maybe he just hasn't processed what he's heard yet. But of course, Portia goes through with the entire wedding. She has chance after chance after chance to come clean, to say something, and she just chooses not to. And one thing that I thought of, and I made a note of this, that people in Port Charles really do seem to have this extreme allergy to the truth. When they could just come clean, and yes, the situation might just completely blow up, they always seem to just choose not to. So it'll be interesting to see. What do you think is going to happen now that Curtis knows the truth? He left he left Jordan because of lies, and now he finds out that Portia has been lying to him this entire time for 20 years now. And the fact that he knows she had every opportunity to say something and she chose not to. So what do you think? Do you think that he's going to leave Portia over this? Do you think he'll seek an annulment? Or do you think that other people outside of this situation will kind of get in his ear and tell him like, hey, what she said was true. She thought you were gone. She thought that you were done with her forever. And at the time, Taggart was starting to make an effort in their marriage. So why would she blow that up in order to come chase after you when you've already left? You were out the door and out of the picture. You didn't want to have anything to do with her. So in a way you can kind of understand, but again, ever since they reconnected, you would think that she would have at some point came clean, just told the truth, got it out there, and then whatever happens, and hopefully you can pick up the pieces of that and try to build something out of those ashes. Here's another twist. What happens if Trina is actually Taggart's daughter? That's a possibility that I don't think anybody's really thinking about, and I understand why. It's a soap opera. That's the path of least resistance is usually the path least taken on these shows. So I'm sure Curtis probably will be Trina's Trina's father. But what if she is actually Taggart's daughter? So who knows? But anyway, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think is going to happen as a result of all of this. It kind of crept along all week, but we finally got there. We finally got the big revelation. So we'll see what happens from there. I don't know where this is going to go. I think that Curtis, it'll be proven that he is Trina's father, but it'll be interesting to see the fallout. But let me know what you think in the comments below. What is going to come of this whole situation? Now, before we get to the Heather, Ryan, and Esme situation that also seemed to take up the bulk of the week, a few observations that I kind of made from this past week's episodes, and I want to know if it's just me or do some of you kind of notice the same thing. One thing, and I completely understand this is totally for dramatic purposes, but why is it whenever two people are in a really serious conversation, one of them has to completely walk past the other one so that they can continue talking with their back turned to the person that they're talking to? Like, nobody ever just talks face to face like this, or they may start out this way, but for dramatic purposes, I have to completely walk past you, turn my back, and then finish the conversation talking to you behind me. Like, does anybody find that weird? Like, try applying that to your real life. Have you ever been in a serious conversation from somebody and thought, wait a minute, I know what's going to make this conversation better? Give me just a second. I need to go past you, and you can continue, and I'll talk to you with my back turned, and then you can talk to me, or you could talk to my back, and then I'll dramatically turn around to face you to finish the conversation. I don't know. I just thought that that was kind of weird, and I always kind of laugh whenever that happens. It's like, why are you were just facing the person? Like, talk to them. Look them in the face. Look them in the eye. Why are you walking past them and turning your back to them to have another conversation? But I don't know. Is it just me? So, also, is everybody in Port Charles just completely blind? And the reason I ask this is because does nobody see what's going on between Dex and Joss when they see them together? I mean, you could tell the way they look at each other. You could tell the way they're always so close to each other. And at least Spencer was smart enough to kind of call them out on it. And he asked Joss, like, hey, would you be defending any of Sonny's other goons this hard? Why, basically, what is it about Dex that makes you have to jump to his defense and defend him harder than you would any of Sonny's just random goons that he has on his payroll? So at least he kind of called it out. But even Sonny walks up and he's like, hey, what's going on? Oh, man, you know what? It looked like Spencer was just giving you a hard time and trying to bait you and you didn't take it. No, hey, dude, I see the way you and Jocelyn look at each other. What's going on with you two? Everybody sees it. But everybody is just completely clueless in Port Charles. So, again, I don't know. Maybe that was just me. And speaking of Sonny, did anybody else find it kind of strange that the date of his shipment that he's supposed to get in coincides with Michael and Willow's wedding date now? Because I remember Willow saying something about, yeah, the wedding will be ready in 2 weeks. It'll be at the Quartermain house or whatever. And then Dex goes and tells Michael, well, the shipment's going to happen in 2 weeks, so we can finally take Sonny down. And Michael kind of had this thought of, well, shoot, now it kind of runs into the same timeline as, and you and I both know it's going to happen on the same day, right? Like, you have a 2 week, a whole week time period, a 5 day time frame there, but you and I both know it is going to happen on the exact same day because something big is obviously going to happen. Now, is Sonny going to get arrested? Is he going to get busted and finally brought down? I don't know. I'm kind of seeing rumor that perhaps during the course of the wedding or right before it or right after it, Sonny is dragged out in handcuffs and finally arrested. So who knows what's going to happen, but leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. The turning the back on somebody, how how obvious Dex and Joss are, because at this point you can just see it when they look at each other that there's something going on there. And then also Sonny's shipment coinciding with Michael and Willow's upcoming wedding. What do you think is going to happen there? Is Sonny going to get busted, or is this thing just going to kind of go off without a hitch? Okay, so Heather and Ryan finally escape Spring Ridge with Esme in tow. Now, I'll admit, I'm not particularly just enthralled with this whole storyline, but it did take up a huge chunk of the week, so I got to kind of talk about it. Now, Ryan knocks out Max Scorpio. He arrives at Wyndermere to basically just terrorize Ava and Felicia. Now, on a side note, I've been wondering quite a bit lately, how are people able to get from the pier to Wyndermere without anybody knowing when it takes a boat launch to get there? Because I always thought before that Nicholas basically knew who was coming to the house, because they had the boat launch had, like, you own the island. Like, if there's ever a boat that's going to leave a pier and come to your island, I think you should probably know about that. And they used to, but now all of a sudden everybody can just jump on a boat, get to the island, and walk right up to the front door, and nobody ever knows. So anyway, I digress. At the end of the Friday's episode, we see that Heather, the hook killer, possibly making Austin her next victim. Now, I'll admit, I really have no idea where this is going. Like I said, I really haven't been too into the storyline. I just really feel like it's been slow rolling, but not in a really dramatic way. It's been just slow, in my opinion. And I mean, maybe that's just me, but I feel like most of this got just thrown together, and now they're trying to rush through to the payoff on this. And I've never really kind of been into Ryan Chamberlain, Heather Weber. I like Esme, but I mean, she really hasn't been around very long, and they're constantly just putting her in different directions. So until she has something that she can really dig into, it's just hard for me to just fully wrap my arms around the character and embrace it and really care all that much about it. So who knows what's going to happen with Austin. I know we're getting into February sweeps, or actually we already are. So there's probably going to be more deaths coming. Usually they always like to kill off at least one character every year during sweeps. So I'm sure, more people are probably going to get whacked on, Mickey and Mallory's rampage through Port Charles now and Spoon Island. But I don't know. I really don't know where this particular storyline is going to end up. I am kind of hearing rumor that Esme somehow breaks free. She runs off on the island. Ryan Chamberlain finds her. She, of course, is going to go into labor, and Ryan has to deliver the baby. But I don't know if this is true, so don't take that as a 100% spoiler, because I don't know. I have not had that particular rumor confirmed. So as of now, I'm not sure. It's just speculation. But anyway, let me know what you think, because I'm actually curious to hear what you think more. And maybe that'll kind of help me, gather more interest in this particular storyline and become more invested in it. But leave me a comment below. Let me know what do you think is going to happen. Who, if anybody, is going to get killed on Spoon Island as a result of this whole escape? Now, before I discuss my thoughts on the whole Nicholas Cassadine situation, I do have one note here. We just found out that General Hospital will be doing a tribute episode to Sonia Eddy, as you know, the actress who portrayed Nurse Epiphany. Sonia passed away back in December, and it takes a while for the show to really kind of catch up on current things. General Hospital films many, many weeks in advance, and also at the end of the year, they always take a break for a few weeks. So it really kind of, if anything happens like at the end of November or December, it really takes a good while before in storyline they can catch up with what has actually happened in real life. But so that's why they've had this delay. However, we do know that it will be Wednesday, March 29th, will be the Epiphany tribute episode. And of course, shortly thereafter, they will be bringing back the Nurses Ball in right around the first part of April. So you know that there's going to be some element of Epiphany worked into the Nurses Ball, because she was such a huge part of those episodes every year that they had the Nurses Ball on there. So be on the lookout for that. Wednesday, March 29th, mark your calendars. That will be the Epiphany tribute episode. Not sure as of right now what they're going to do, but we do know that that has been confirmed. That will be the air date that they have put into place. So, like I said, mark your calendars and just get ready for a very emotional episode. Everything that I've been hearing about Sonia Eddy and reading about her online is that she was such an amazing woman. The cast and the crew of General Hospital, everybody loved Sonia, and you can really, really expect that it's going to be a very emotional tribute and very well deserved. So I just wanted to make everybody aware. Wednesday, March 29th, that will be the Epiphany tribute show. Okay, so I've done a video recently about Marcus Coloma leaving General Hospital as Nicholas Cassadine, and I've touched on the death of Nicholas before, and I got a lot of comments about how Nicholas is 100% dead, absolutely, no question about it. They've shown his body, so that is proof positive that Nicholas Cassadine is 100% dead. But it's a soap opera. You know, until it is confirmed by like everybody in town, and even then, who knows? So even now, I'm not so sure about that. And I really kind of haven't been from day one. And again, none of the casting stuff really makes a whole lot of sense to me. It could very well be that they did not renew Marcus's contract because they were planning on just killing off the character. But to kill off the character like a Nicholas Cassadine without much fanfare or fireworks to go with it, I just don't see them taking the character out with just a simple bonk on the head that produced zero blood in the first place. So, and I've also seen enough soap operas to know that just because there is a body doesn't mean that person's dead. So, I mean, we've had Brenda Barrett going off a cliff before and somehow survived and came back. Lucky Spencer, they found a body. They found the subway token around Lucky's neck that Elizabeth gave him. The dental records for Lucky matched up. And then what happened? A week later, we saw Lucky Spencer still alive. So again, until everything in my mind, and again, you're free to believe. If you want to believe that the character's dead and I'm a complete idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about because they've shown the body, everybody says he's dead, so he's got to be dead, that's fine. I'll take that. That's part of doing these videos. That's part of putting my opinion out there. And I love seeing your opinion. I love seeing that, you know, if you think he's dead, great. And he very well could be. And the day that they come back and say, he's completely dead, we've bagged his body, we've taken him off of Spoon Island, he's completely dead, I'll say, okay, hey, I was wrong. My theory was wrong. No big deal. But until that happens, the pieces just aren't falling into place for me. So again, I'm going to continue to run with my theory that I don't think Nicholas Cassadine is 100% dead. I am still waiting on somebody to go to the stable and find nothing. To find absolutely nothing. No body, no trace. Think of what's going to produce the most drama. What's going to produce the most drama going forward for General Hospital? They open the stable door and there's Nicholas's body dead, Or they open the stable door and there's no body. I mean, look at what happened with Peter August. Look at what happened with him. Finn and Elizabeth literally stuffed his body in a freezer in the General Hospital basement. They came back, opened the freezer, and the body was gone. So why can't the same thing happen with Nicholas? I mean, it's the same writers, so certainly they could come up with the same kind of story, right? So until that happens, I'm just not convinced. And also, there's now a rumor out there, okay? And I'm just going to say, I don't know if this is an actual spoiler. I feel like this may just be a rumor at this point, so we'll have to wait and see. And if you like to watch the show spoiler-free, don't say I didn't warn you, because this could be a spoiler, but it could not be. Nothing has been confirmed yet. But Sandra McIntyre of CelebratingTheSoaps.com put out a story that somehow Mason ends up finding Nicholas's body and taking it and hiding it so that he can use this to blackmail Ava and Austin. We know that Mason's certainly been keeping close tabs on Ava and Austin. And, of course, with both of them being on Spoon Island, you got to know that somehow Mason's going to find his way onto the island and into Wyndermere somehow. Not sure. Don't know how I feel about that particular rumor, especially now when we've got Ryan Chamberlain and Heather Weber on the island and Esme Prince on the island. It could be a possibility that Mason has made his way to the island and doesn't know about all this other stuff going on. But I don't know. I don't know at this point. But let me know what you think. And yes, I am 100% ready for people to say, Eric, you don't know what you're talking about, okay? The dude's dead. Give it up. Give it up already. He's dead. Let it go. The character's dead. I get that. And I'm fully ready for that, and I'm waiting for it. Because I love your comments. I don't care if they're good, bad, or indifferent. You can call me an idiot. It doesn't bother me. But again, I'm going to hold on just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. I'm going to hold on. And I'm going to think that Nicholas is still alive. They've taken him off of TV so that they could find the next Nicholas Cassadine, who I still think is going to be Tyler Christopher. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. So anyway, until something changes, I am going to stick to that theory about Nicholas Cassadine. So anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you again for all the support. I know I say it every week, but thank you so much for the support. The subscribers are growing like crazy. The amount of views I'm getting on these videos is just mind-blowing. I think my fiance is honestly sick of me like telling her almost every couple of hours, you know, the update to this channel. So, but I'm excited. I can't help it. I love interacting with all of you. Thank you so much for the comments you all are leaving. I try to get to as many as I possibly can in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just to like your comment. But I truly love engaging with each and every one of you, and I want to thank you all for continuing to watch. And please, please, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I greatly appreciate it. And until next time, this is Eric for the Port Charles Podcast.